guys, it's Cassandra Williams, EI360. This is Tips for Teaching. We want to make sure we allow you to kind of dive into some of these strategies that will help you be extraordinary as a teacher. So today we're talking about positive, right? What does it take to provide positive notes to go home for your teachers and your family, and what will it do? We know it will boost motivation, confidence, improve classroom behavior, and really thinking about how do we support our family-community relationship. Yes, positive notes matter, that feel-good relationship. So we know student behavior changes when positive notes are sent home. Family members are excited, they share their joy, call teachers and communicate that, and students let you know as a teacher that their families were excited, so that it goes a long way. Parental engagement, when parents know that you are kind of a cheerleader for their students, they will do 110 times more for the classroom teacher. We know it boosts academic performance as well as classroom climate. When students know they have an opportunity to share what great things is happening in the classroom by the teacher, that is key and crucial towards the success of any classroom. Now, there's so many ways that you could do it. It used to be very daunting, and it still can be overwhelming if you don't think of how can we best support our families, right? So thinking about, here's some of the current trends that I see kind of happening in the schools. So think about, how do we communicate with our families digitally, where it be a ClassDojo, Remind, where we can kind of get on our cell phones and click right away, give positive notes. Personalized emails are good. Remember being able to identify what are the best ways that family members want to communicate in this aspect, so that gives it another layer of access, but really thinking about what are we doing for automated systems? How can we automate some of these systems, right? We know John or Kelly or Lisa is going to do well, and so how do we kind of sparse that out so it's not always giving them the recognition, and so sometimes when we're strapped for time, we already have those things that will automatically go out. And then thinking of multimedia messages, how can we use memes, GIFs? I remember, so I was coaching for a group about 2 years ago, and one of the things they really loved was memes. And so granted, that is adult learning versus student learning, but when students receive memes, or their families receive memes of you jumping up and down, right? And so we were able to get multiple GIFs of my enacting, and we were able to put it on my phone, and I was able to send it to families. Families really enjoyed that. So either there's a short video of me talking to the parent, leaving voice messages, but really thinking about, there's so many ways that you can provide meaningful conversations and connections to family members now. Now, here are some of my favorite time-saving strategies that you could do. Thinking about, what do we need to do to make sure that kind of we batch, right? Batch writing has been crucial in thinking of, like, how do I write several notes at once so I can kind of have these positive notes in a line, ready to go, some of the characteristics of the students from behavior, and I can ready to go home right away. Quick cards, whether they're pre-printed cards that are pre-created, right? Thinking of what that looks like, or moments during our teaching day that was sent home. That can work. I'm all about voice messages that can go home really quickly, recording something, send it to parents. And then thinking of student involvement. There are many times when you can nominate peers for recognition, and this is the part where I think we don't do it enough, is have peer-to-peer recognition, peer-to-peer writing, peer-to-peer celebration for success, and what that looks like. So the student is not only taking that one directional note home from you as a teacher, but a note home from another student, and a note home for being, extraordinary that day, right? Thinking of how do we have it to where it's not just teacher-led? Okay, if you're going to take this on, you kind of got to think, what are going to be my tracking methods? So think about, what are your digital tools? And then, so we know ClassDojo, Remind, right? These are apps that you do instant messages. We know Google Forms that help with tracking, so you're not continuously giving the same person recognition and feedback. Seesaw Stories, where you can do video, you can show activities, but also other students can make comments or celebrate other students' growth and success. And then voice-to-text messages, where you're dictating something that you want to say. And then again, you can always use AI to craft a message and send it out immediately. Now, some of the cons for batch emailing and things like that is sometimes it can be vague. So always think about, how can we have effective class notes, right? That means, of course, we got to be specific on, their behaviors, things that we have celebrated, important facts that we have recognized that's made change over time. How are we authentic? Thinking about, what are the specific details of their child that has their unique strength, and how we can share that with some of the family members. And then, of course, inclusive, really thinking about, what is the family language preference, right? Just imagine if you had something translated to the the family to where we can we can bridge that communication gap. And you can do that in many ways. Now, I keep saying with AI, but Synthesia is really good with translating your voice with a different language. We can always have interpreters on campus that we have to do parent-teacher conference, to do a voice memo on a student, right? These are these things that help bridge that gap for families. Now, I'm all about that equity life, right? Thinking of positive communication and how do we track? What does it mean to track distribution? Make sure we have a checklist and it's not the same people every week. Make sure we have access to language, whether our bilingual staff, maybe that they can help interpret some of these communications to family. Thinking of digital equity, what is the best medium or form that parents would like to be communicated with, and what does that even look like through digital literacy? And then, of course, culturally responsive teaching and thinking about how we can we understand the cultural differences and backgrounds across family members, and we make sure we're addressing those when we send our messages out. Now, I did want to think about, what is something I could do really quick, Cassandra, right? These are little quick time-saving, small investment, personalized notes that you can do, and just look at the amount of time that it takes. So whether we can track academic progress and share that, talk about helpful behavior, talk about working through something in the classroom that they overcame, and then just talk about participation in class, and then using these sentence frames sometimes can help you, craft a message and send it immediately. Now, I'm all about that implementation. I'm all about the implementation. We need to start small. How do we start small? Begin with maybe 3 to 5 notes per week, right? Or thinking of how do I get all the students in a month? Being able to establish a routine, right? Maybe it's every Tuesday during I don't want to say during my prep because we always know we need our preps, but 15 to 20 minutes before, after school, that we can actually write specific positive communications, or a quick minute during independent work time where we can actually put something on our phone to text for a student, and then kind of scale gradually. So now we know we can get all of our students within a month, right? And then how do we make this a habit, make this a thing where it's consistent all throughout the year, and then reflect and see, hey, how did that go? Was that too much time it took me to do this? But we know this is necessary for the success of our classroom community. All right, here are the key takeaways and next steps, which I am a proponent. If you're going to hear it, you're going to do it, and you're going to try. So thinking about consistent communication, what can you do? Small. I always say put small coins in families' emotional bank accounts. It will yield big results. Thinking about what tools are you using? How do we leverage technology to expedite some of these opportunities? And then how do we think about equity to ensure all families get access to you, and you get access to all families, and they know that you are doing what's best for their students. I hope these tips help. Talk to you later, or DM me if you want more. Bye.